Hello everyone, welcome back to Blender Point. My name is Sujat and this is a tutorial on how to create tiles in Blender. So let's begin. So here as you can see I have already created some variations of tiles over here. You would be able to see the different types of tiles that can be created using very simple geometry nodes. Very simple texture nodes. So as you can see, these are quite intricate or quite complex materials that I have created using simple noise textures and Voronoi textures. So if we change the scale of this texture, you can see it moves as we change it. We can change the details of it, we can change the roughness, we can change the lacunarity of it, we can change the distortion, but I am not going to play with that over here. So it's a basic setup. As you can see, I have some mix colors over here, color mixes over here. And you can see there are different sort of materials that I have created, but if you see the connections that I have created over here looks similar, right? Because all of them have been made using similar nodes, right? You can see over here as well, there is nothing different over here. If we see it side by side, let me just click on this and you would see, if you see over here, nothing changes other than the the way it is structured. So all of them are just similar nodes. I have just used some different methods to create different characteristics or different textures, right? So we will try and create one from the scratch, and I can tell you this, that there is nothing wrong in experimenting. Once you start experimenting, you get different results. So do not be afraid of experimenting with what you do, and whatever I show you, it is just going to be something to think upon and do something by yourself. This is just going to be a guide on what to how you can go about do this. So what I have over there is, we have some Voronoi textures. We are going to get one Voronoi texture over here, duplicate that. If you have node wrangler activated in your add-ons, then you can press Ctrl T and you will get a texture coordinate, and you take it and you grab it and put it over here. You do the same for this as well. Ctrl T, grab them and put it over here. And as you have seen in my earlier textures as well, we are going to use this object over here, and the same for this as well, because we are going to run from the same texture coordinate. So let's give them a little bit of room. Yes, now we add a color mix, and also we need a color ramp. So we take the color ramp. First we connect the distance with the factor, the color with these colors, Now we change these colors to something of your liking. I am going to change the color to what I have in these like in these textures. So I'm going to do something like same from here as well. So now let me go ahead and duplicate this and add this over here. Sorry, let's duplicate that, bring it over here, take the distance, connect it, and connect this to the color B. Right now, if we go ahead and connect both of them, you would see this happen. If we put this color directly over here, you would see this, and if I put this over here directly, you would also see the same thing. But now if I just do this, change this blending mode to multiply and the result over here, and then we go ahead and change the scale of it. Now you can see that I have another texture that has been added in between the main texture, which is this one. Okay, now it looks very round. So what we do over here is we take a noise texture and then Control T to get the texture coordinates and the mapping node. Keep that, disconnect that, and put this one over here. So as you can see, we are using the same texture coordinate for the complete mapping of all the nodes. So we take this factor and put it over here. Now you see, if we change the scale, sorry, now what I did was I added this to the scale, so that's why you see there is a issue. I don't want to do that. What I want rather is I want a math node. I want to add this noise texture to this vector, and now if we do this, increase the details, the roughness, increase the scale. So I am using object over here. We can just go ahead and check these material, what this uses. Well, this one I suppose. So here we are using the single texture coordinate for this one. Let's change these and see. Yes, so we are very close to what we have over here. So let me just check what we have for a moment and then get back. Right, so now we have this. We need another noise texture. we need another noise texture. We take that, bring it over here, use the same math value, put this through the factor over here, control T to get the mapping, put it over here, disconnect this one, use this one for the vector. Now let some, it will take time for the whole thing to render, so wait for a bit and then start tweaking on the values, right? So as you can see, as we tweak on the values, we get different textures, and we can increase, decrease and do whatever we like with this, right? So now what we need is to take another noise texture over here, use this factor to guide this factor over here. Now this factor should also go through this over here so that it adheres to the object. So now we can basically tweak it to our need. And now let's get the brick. So for that we need a brick texture. We use this vector as like directly over here for this brick texture. We add another multiply node, add it directly over here to the section B, and add the same factor over here as well. So now you see you have that brick texture over here, and now what we can do is we can add some math nodes in between and get a desired look, right? So for that we should first do one thing. We should check what we have over here. So the math looks like a little bit of this. So we have a multiply vector nodes that has 2 multiplication to it, then it goes through a cross product, and then it connects to all of these nodes, which are basically the same nodes, flow nodes, and then we have a multiplier attached to that as well. Looks quite complex, but basically it isn't. So let me just do the same for this one, right? So what we have there is a multiply node, which is basically a vector math node, sorry. So we get a vector, then we multiply it, like we connect it to the multiply node. Now then There is a noise behind me, so I'm not sure if you can hear that, but that's a very loud noise and it is quite very distracting because I'm trying to work around with. Let me just try and concentrate. So let's do it. So now let me just check what we had previously. Yes, so let's do this. Let's go back, disconnect all of them. Let's connect this object to the first multiply node here. Take this multiply node, put it over here. Let's get a value node. Add this to this. Now duplicate that, add this to this, then we take both the multiplication values, then add another. We have a cross product of all these values. We add another value over here. Now let's go ahead and put all of these together, all the vector nodes through this. Let's wait for this to compile. Before that, let's just take so as you see, you won't see much of a difference, but things have changed, I can assure you that. And you can just see it from changing these values. You can actually control most of what is over there, right? So now you can see, you can change the scale of the whole thing with these value nodes itself. But the thing is not complete till we give it some other values as well. So we do another thing. Once we do the cross product, we take the value and we float it to a vector. So let's do that and see what happens. Duplicate them, all of them, and add them and see what happens. Let it compile. Now you see it looks something like this, and if you go ahead and change this value, you would see you get the desired look that we had earlier as well. But it seems very flat, and the thing that I had was not this flat, right? It's because we are still using only the base color for the whole operation. We now take this result and put it through the roughness. We add a pump node. We take the same result, put it through the height, take this and put it through the normal. Let's get some room. Yes. Now you see we get the same result as earlier. one thing we need to do is we need to decrease the strength of this one. So now you see we have the same result as now. Once we go to this result and this one, we see they're both similar. So there you go. Now you can go ahead and change the scale from here, there, everywhere. You can, you can change them and do whatever you feel like with the scale of it, and everything is tweakable. And so that's it. That's all for this tutorial. You will obviously get this on my Gumroad, and you can check my add-on Easy Light and Buddy Code, right? And thank you. Let's wrap this up.